Here we are, another family service. What are we talking about?
Peacemakers.
Peacemakers.
Boots of peace.
The boots of the gospel of peace. All right. Do you remember what we talked about last time?
Well,
It had something to do with peace. Let's start.
Tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
All right, let's go.
Hey, Dad.
Enter into the name of the Lord. Yod hey shin vav hey, Yod hey shin vav hey, Yod hey shin vav hey, Yod hey shin vav hey. Okay, 26. Proverbs chapter 26 in the Amplified. Like snow in the summer and rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a short-sighted fool. Like a sparrow in her wandering, like a swallow in her flying. So a curse without a cause does not come in a line on the undeserving. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, a rod for the backs of fools who refuse to learn. Do not answer nor pretend to agree with the frivolous comments of a close-minded fool according to his folly. Otherwise, even you will be like him. Answer and correct the erroneous concepts of a fool according to his folly. Otherwise, he will be wise in his own eyes if he thinks you agree with him. If he who sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off his own feet, sabotages himself, and drinks the violence it brings on himself as a consequence. Like the legs, which are useless to the lame, so is a proverb in the mouth of a fool who cannot learn from its wisdom. Like one who absurdly binds a stone, binds a stone in a sling, making it impossible to throw. So is he who absurdly gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn that goes without being felt into the hands of a drunken man, so is a proverb in the mouth of a fool who remains unaffected by its wisdom. Like a careless archer who shoots arrows widely and wounds everyone, so he who hires a fool, or those who by chance just pass by. Like a dog that returns to his vomit is a fool who repeats his foolishness. Do you see a man who is unteachable and wise in his own eyes and full of self-conceit? There is more hope for a fool than for him. A lazy person who is self-indulgent and relies on the lame excuses says, there is a lion in the road, the lion is in the open square, and if I go outside to work, I will be killed. As a door turns on its hinges, so does a lazy person on his bed, never getting out of it. A lazy person buries his head in the ditch, losing opportunity after opportunity. It wearies him to bring it back to his mouth. The lazy person is wiser in his own eyes than 7 sensible things, like one who grabs a dog by the ears and is likely to be bitten is he who passing by stops to meddle in a dispute that is none of his business. Like a madman who throws firebrands and arrows and death, so is a man who deceives his neighbor, his acquaintance, his friend, when saying, I was just joking. For lack of wood the fire goes out, and where there is no whisper who gossips, contention quiets down. Like a charcoal to hot embers and wood fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a whisperer, a gossip, are like dainty morsels to be eaten greedily. Then they go down to the innermost chambers of the body, to be remembered and mused upon. Like a common clay vessel, covered with silver dross, making it appear silver when it has no real value, are like burning lips, murmuring manipulative words, and a wicked heart. He who hates disguises it with his lips, but he stores up deceit in his heart. When he speaks graciously and kindly to conceal his malice, do not trust him, for 7 abominations are in his heart. Though his hatred covers itself with guile and deceit, his malevolence will be revealed openly before the assembly. Whoever digs a pit for another man's feet will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone uphill to do mischief, it'll fall back on him. A lying tongue hates those it wounds and crushes, and flattering words works ruin. A flattering mouth works ruin. Joy, 1 through 28. 28. A lying...
last time already. Zoe went last time.
Zoe went last time.
And it would be your turn.
No, it's Joy's turn. A lying tongue hates those it
Dad,
wounds.
but we do that together. That would be too...
A lying tongue hates those it wounds and crushes, and flattering mouths works ruin. All right, what does this mean, Zokes? Break it down for us. A lying tongue hates those it wounds.
Lying tongue. A lying tongue is like...
Speak up.
A lying tongue is like this. Oh, that person did, not me, but you're actually lying.
Okay, so a lying tongue, so it hates those it wounds and crushes.
It hates people that have righteousness.
Yeah.
And crush them.
Yeah, it can do that. Yeah. And a flattering mouth works ruin?
And the flying mouth, it flats their...
So sometimes people want to just compliment you. But sometimes they have evil motives in their heart. So just because somebody compliments you doesn't mean they have your best interest at heart. So sometimes when people want to cheat from you and steal from you and cheat you, like you go to the market and all of a sudden the guy starts complimenting you. We go to stores here, but in other countries they have the market where you go and there's different vendors, and one has rugs and another one sells something else. Maybe the other one sells spices, the other one sells fruit, the other one sells shoes. And so you go to the market, and sometimes people will just start flattering you. Oh, nice shirt, nice shoes, I love your hair. Oh, you have the most beautiful eyes. But sometimes they're just trying to get you to buy from them, and they give you a really bad deal. And they figure because they're nice to you, you can talk them into, they can talk you into paying more. I mean, that's one example, but this would be more of an example of, I don't know, what kind of comes to my mind is Nehemiah. Do you remember Nehemiah? And Sanballat, what happened there? He didn't want him to build the wall. And so you could, like in that type of situation, Sanballat could come to Nehemiah and say...
He said, "You're a fool."
He could say, "Oh, you're so amazing. But the king told me that you're not allowed to build this wall." And he was lying. And he was trying to crush Nehemiah.
But he didn't believe.
So a lot of times, to get you to believe them, they'll come in and lie. And they'll start with, "Oh, you're so smart. It's amazing what you're doing. You're such a great leader. But you know what? The king told me that you're not allowed to do this. And so if you do that, he's going to come and crush you. And you're going to be disobedient to the king, so you have to stop." So he's starting with a compliment, and then he's putting in lies and trying to stop what God's trying to do. That would be an example that came to mind. All right, so Matthew 5:9.
"Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God."
All right, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. What is this verse out of? Matthew, the
Sermon on the Mount.
The Sermon on the Mount, right? The Beatitudes. So what did God show you guys about this? Let's start with you. Zoe, you first.
I didn't get anything.
You didn't get anything? Okay, no problem.
So I got that Jesus gave us peacemakers because he doesn't want the world to be full of angriness. And so he sent, well, he didn't exactly send, but he helps us to become peacemakers to help the world out. I got something right now. So we're peace. So Jesus sends us to give the peace word, but people try to knock us down with not peace. I want to say, "Oh, that's not true," to other people and make them not believe it.
Okay, say that again. I didn't follow you.
Okay, so there's a peacemaker, but the unpeacemaker, he says, "Oh, that's not true." So he tries to kill that peacemaker and tries to make it so there's not a peacemaker.
Okay, sounds good. So let's do Matthew. Let's start at the first. When Jesus saw the crowd, he went up on the mountain. And when he was seated, his disciples came to him. He began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, those devoid of spiritual those devoid of spiritual arrogance, those who regard themselves as insignificant, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, both now and forever." So blessed are the poor in spirit. So Amplified says the poor in spirit are those devoid of spiritual arrogance, those who regard themselves as insignificant. So the poor in spirit. Okay. So for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. I'm just going to rush through. We could spend a lot of time on each one of these, but I'm just going to read through it. Blessed, forgiven, refreshed by grace are those who mourn over their sins and repent, for they will be comforted. When the burden of sin is lifted is what the Amplified adds. So the Amplified's adding in a lot of stuff. So we don't have to take it as like 100% perfect, but it does help add in different, like let's say you're looking at a diamond, right? And you only see it from one side. Can you get the full glory of all the facets of the diamond from one side? No. So this is kind of like turning it a little bit and showing us some other sides. Blessed, inwardly peaceful, spiritually secure, worthy of respect, are the gentle, the kind-hearted, the sweet-spirited, and the self-controlled, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed, joyful, nourished by God's goodness are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, those who actively seek right standing with God, for they will be completely satisfied. We did that when we were talking about the breastplate of righteousness. Blessed, content, sheltered by God's promise are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed, anticipating God's presence, spiritually mature, are the pure in heart, for with integrity and moral courage and godly character, for they will see God. Blessed, spiritually calm, with life, joy in God's favor, are the makers and adamant maintainers of peace, for they will express his character and be called sons of God. Blessed, comforter by inheritance, peace, God's love, are those who are persecuted for doing what is morally right, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, both now and forever. Blessed, morally courageous, spiritually alive with life, in God's goodness are you when people insult you and persecute you falsely, saying all kinds of evil things against you because of your association with me. Be glad and exceedingly joyful. Your inner reward in heaven is great, absolutely inexhaustible. For in this way, same way, they persecuted the prophets who were before you. All right. I struggle with this one, honestly. Like, this one is a really hard one to understand from the aspect of, I guess, a watchman. You know how, so back, one of the first words Tina's brother, Lee, gave me when I, really started my maturation process, when I really after I kind of, went from just going to church on Sunday, kind of having one foot in the world, one foot in God, with God. They're going in different directions, and I couldn't do the splits.
Like making.
And so, but basically, when I told God that I'll do whatever he wants me to do, when I'm no longer just giving God, like Reinhard Bonnke, this amazing evangelist in Africa, talked about, give God every room in your heart. You give God the front room, and you clean it all up. But then he leaves, and you get beat up by the devil, and he beats you and beats you and beats you. And then you say, God, where were you? But you didn't give God every room in your heart. That's a bad impression, but he was an amazing evangelist. And basically he's talking about giving God all of us, right? So it's really easy to give God your front room. You got it all cleaned up, but you got this closet that you got stuff hidden in. It could be pride. It could be a whole bunch of different sins, and you don't want to give it to God. But once you give God everything and you open up every room in your heart to him, then he'll start cleaning you out. And that's when you can actually be of service to him. It's tough to be of service to him when you're not fully surrendered to him. You don't fully abide with him when you're still hiding things back. So after I went through that process, and for me, it was like snowboarding on the weekends, right? It was putting snowboarding and putting adventure and putting, travel above God. But once I gave everything to him, he gave me snowboarding 10 times over, right? We got like 30 days in last year. And we spend time with God. Like, that's one of our favorite times to spend time with him, is in the mountains while we're snowboarding. And so that's an amazing thing. But it's not like he's taken anything away. So I'm digressing. But what he showed me was that I was called to be this like Ezekiel 3, Ezekiel 33 type guy, who it basically says that if I tell you something and you don't share it with that person, then their sins are on your hands. And you're guilty of basically not being a watchman, not sharing what I called you to share with that person. But if you share with them and they don't receive it, then the blood's on their hands. It's their fault. It's their problem. So God's called me to share hard things. And being a watchman is not a peaceful role. Okay, because people don't like to be shown that maybe what they're doing isn't right. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe they're, living in a lower reality, a lower calling, a lower revelation of what God has called them for. And pride and offense well up. Was Jesus a peacemaker?
Yes. Actually, no, he did not. Well, he is, but it didn't bring peace because it just it got very, I don't know what the word is.
So Jesus was a peacemaker through and through. But what was the result of his peacemaking?
Not peace.
He got murdered for it, right? He brought peace when he turned over the temple. The money changer, think of when we were watching The Chosen. You guys had a lot of questions after that one. When he came into the temple with the whip and turned over the money changers' tables. Was that peacemaking?
No.
If he's the Prince of Peace, and that is who he is, can he be anything outside of who his true reality is?
Yes.
He's either the Prince of Peace or he's not. Right? So maybe the Prince of Peace mandating peace on the earth actually looks like, in certain circumstances, turning over the money changers' tables. Have you ever thought about it that way? I never have, honestly. This is like the first time I'm actually seeing this.
Then I was going to add, his definition of peace is different than our definition of peace.
Right.
Sometimes we think peace is everything's easy, super smooth, and doesn't require work or isn't hard. But actually, you can have peace in all of those situations when life gets hard, stressful. You can have his peace, and it's a different definition from our peace. So we have to kind of break down our mindset of what peace is.
Yeah, that's amazing. Exactly. So, what Mommy's saying is that there's two aspects of it, okay? So she brought out two really, really good points. So one point is, what is peace? Right? So if you're just lazy, like we read in Proverbs, how the lazy man just lays in his bed, and you don't go out and do anything, you're just sitting there, are you at peace in your bed?
Or you're just playing video.
Kind of. Like from an earthly, fleshly mindset, you are at peace when you're just sitting there doing nothing. And there's a time for peace, right? There's a time for rest. There's a time for laying down by the still waters. But is there also peace at the table with your enemies surrounding you and walking through the valley of the shadow of death? Is that also peace?
I don't know.
So what Mommy was pointing out is that Jesus could be at perfect peace as the Prince of Peace while he's turning over the money changer tables. From the outside, from the fleshly perspective, peace looks like, oh, just don't say that because they're not going to like it. Just get along with everybody. Just don't start a problem. Just keep your head down. Don't say anything. You don't want anybody to make fun of you. You don't want anybody to get mad. You don't want to insult anybody, so just keep your head down. Don't say anything, and let's just try to get along.
Yeah, I think of it as like an example, like Joy, you know, when you really want to do something, but then your brothers and your sisters want to do something else, and you don't say anything. And then you just want to get along with what they're doing, because you're like, it's okay, I'll do whatever. So.
But maybe what God showed you is what is like the key piece to fit everything together.
Yeah.
And you don't say something because you don't want to cause any trouble. But maybe what you were shown is going to bring everything together and get us to the right place, to meet the right person, and bring the kingdom of God to that person.
Yeah.
You know? It's like keeping us from our divine destiny, you know, keeping that person from their divine destiny because you didn't speak up and we didn't, you know, like when we were in Newport and that family we met, their son was like, I want to go to the pool park. I want to go to the park. And Zebby's like, I want to go to the park. I want to go to the park. And we went to the park and God had a divine connection. And we ended up, we had connection and we ended up sowing into them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes peacemaking is actually conflict. Zoe, you had something to share.
So, while you're just...
Speak it up. Clear voice.
Or you're just laying in bed playing video games.
Uh-huh.
Like, you're like,
We don't need to say names.
So, we're just laying in bed doing video games. It's frying our minds, so we don't...
Yeah, laying around just playing video games all day fries our mind. And it's not allowing us to walk into our destiny, right? And so peace is, what if peace was more of a mindset and a spiritual reality? But sometimes peace looks like violence on the earth. In the sense of, it really offends the religious mindset, honestly. Because the religious mindset has this idea that I gotta earn it. I gotta do it. That's what you see in every religion throughout the world, right? I have to earn enough good karma to earn my way into the next life as a better life. That's doing it on my own, in my own power. In Islam, it looks like working to have enough good deeds to outweigh the bad deeds. Okay? So, peace is honestly a violent thing to the flesh. Not that we should go out and pick fights with people just because they're doing something wrong. Not to say that we should go out and just correct everybody we see. Right? So that's something that takes maturity, is to know and really spend time with God and abide with Him. Because just because I'm called to be a watchman, not a watcher, a watchman, and stand on the city gate and say, hey guys, this gospel of, bless me now, pray a prayer, get to heaven, just wait and sit around and do nothing, and just try to suffer through life until death saves you type thing. Like, that's offensive to people. Like, I heard a really cool quote that really blessed me. It said something along, I forgot who it was by, but it said something about how the only justified or the only correct or the only right response to truth is offense and anger. But then, if we have humility, we can work through it and receive the truth. Because we all have this natural bias to say that what I believe is correct. I got it all figured out. I understand it. Like that's the prideful, foolish person in Proverbs. And honestly, like we all have that aspect of our flesh inside of us that doesn't want to receive truth. And so when peace, truth come, it offends us and it wells up inside of us. And so if we're peacemakers, Jesus came to bring peace everywhere he went. But he also bring wrath against everything that kept us from walking in his image. Right? Because we're called to be image bearers. We're called to walk just like Jesus, talk just like Jesus, think just like Jesus, act just like Jesus in every circumstance. We're called to do the same things he did and more. That's what his word says, right? And so there's a lot of things stopping us from that happening. And it's called our flesh, right? Our anger, our lust, our desires, our pride. All these things stand in the way of us being who God called us to be. And so we're called to be peacemakers. But sometimes being a peacemaker means putting a criminal in jail. And you have to do that by force some of the time. If the criminal doesn't want to stand down, the police get out their guns and they tell him to kneel. And if he doesn't kneel, they throw him onto the ground and throw handcuffs on him and haul him into the police car. But the police are peacemakers.
How are the police peacemakers? Shoot.
Answer that question for yourself. How do the police make peace?
I said kneel.
By what do they do to people who are disturbing the peace? Yeah, if they're breaking the law, they're robbing, they're stealing, they're hurting other people, what do?
Put them in jail.
Yeah, there's punishments as part of that.
Or they're going to put them in jail.
And so peacemakers is an interesting thing. I think, like, first of all, we need to understand what God's version of peace is and what our flesh wants to say peace is. Our flesh wants to say, oh, just everybody get along. Oh, don't worry about them. Yes, they're living in sin, but, it's rude to call them out, and so we want to make peace with them. So don't say anything. Or on the other side, it says just beat them over the head with it and just nag them and just keep calling out everybody. And just tell them the truth. They just need the truth. But what's truth without love? Is truth without love being a peacemaker? No, because if you have all truth and no love, they're never going to hear it from you. That's what we do a lot of times in the church, is just Bible thump people. And just say, hey, shame on you, you shouldn't be doing this, shame on you. But do you receive that when everybody's just trying to thump you over the head with truth? No, it's when I come beside you, I walk with you, and I say, hey, I know what you're doing seems right, but what if you were called to be the image bearer of the divine, the image bearer of the one true God, and you were called to shine just like he shines on this earth? And that means this lowly level of life that you're walking in that is sin and you think it's fulfilling. What if there was a more fulfilling way? And that's union with the divine. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
Zoe, can you start us off in prayer?
We must stay up. We hope that we could always be peacemakers, Lord. Amen.
Teach us to be peacemakers, Father. Teach us what it looks like to mandate and to bring about and to be conduits of your peace on earth. Peace on earth, goodwill towards men. That's your calling. That's what you want. Reconciliation. But sometimes reconciliation is difficult to the flesh. And so help us not back down when the flesh arises. Help us not back down when it's hard to share the peace, hard to share the truth, but let us always do it in love. Father, teach us what it's like to be peacemakers. Not as the world does, but as you do. Father, let us be peacemakers, reconciling the world back to you, so that we can walk like you, and talk like you, and think like you, and speak like you, and pray like you, and see the healing and the miracles that you saw. Because that's what the world needs, is people manifesting your image everywhere they go. Whether it's in school or at work, whether it's at the store or on the road. Everywhere we go, let us be peacemakers, shining your light in the darkness. In your name we pray. Amen. 1, 2, 3. Praise Yahweh. 1, 2, 3. Kingdom Family Adventures.
It's almost Thanksgiving.